Assalamu alaikum class. Today we will be learning about Unit 11, the role of media. So let us start with sending messages. The subcontinent had a very old mail system. People paid runners. What were runners? They were actually people who used to run to take messages and packages from one place to another. They paid by weight and distance. Just like today in modern's world, we use TCS or leopards and we pay by weight and by distance. So when the British East India Company ruled Sindh, they needed faster mail. So in 1851, they used horses and camels instead of runners. They even used stamps called Sindh Dog. They were the first postage stamps in all of the Asia. In the next slide, I'll be showing you what a Sindh Dog postage stamp looked like. So now scientists and inventors worked at sending messages using electricity and magnetism. The messages spelled words using a code. There were many different codes. Just like when you use computers, they actually transfer your messages through a binary code. They don't actually send your messages in English or Urdu. Then in Russia, Pavel Schilling made the first electric telegraph in 1832. It could send messages along wires from one room to another. By the 1860s, there were telegraph cables between towns and cities and even under the seas to link continents. Now in this slide, as you can see, this is a Sindh Dog stamp. These are actually very rare and only 100 left in the world. Now this another diagram shows how an electric telegraph machine worked. Tele means far and graph means writing. So telegraph means far writing. In other words, you could send writing to far off places. The wheel type machine, here the messages came and it printed them in code or the thin ribbon of the paper. Then someone typed them out as words. The other part of the machine sent messages in codes. The part that actually sent messages in code was a tapping device. You had to tap different times and in different intervals to make a code. And then the other person would then decipher that code and would write it in English. The next topic is railway communications. The first trains were pulled by horses and went very slowly. A horse rider went ahead of the train beside the track. He waved a flag to say that a train was coming. Notice even in this picture, a man is walking ahead of the train, while a horse is pulling the train. Can you imagine the power needed to pull that train by a single horse? The horsepower must be tremendous. And that is why, the horsepower came into being for the use of trains. A horsepower is basically the power of an engine measured in terms of horsepower, and it equals to 750 watts. That's huge. Later, steam trains had whistles that the driver could sound using steam from the boiler. That could alarm the bypassers crossing the train tracks. Look at this picture of a steam engine. Doesn't it resemble like a Hogwarts train? Next came the signalmen. Where tracks met, signalmen used their arms and hands to show train drivers which way to go. Signalmen moved parts of tracks to let trains go from track one to another. Notice in this picture, a signalman is waving a green flag that says you may cross it, while the red flag says you must need to stop. In the next picture, a signalman is pulling a lever. This lever moves parts of tracks to let trains go from track one to another. Later, railway companies put up tall poles with signal bars. Train drivers could see them from far away unless it was very dark or foggy. Signalmen moved the bars up or down with levers. Like for instance, in this picture, the signal bar has two levers up and one lever that is pointing straight. The train drivers knew what messages the bars were giving. So obviously they could change their directions or either go or either stop. Even in your book, page number 108, there is an old railway signal showing at Chak Jhumra. A train driver didn't know if another train was stuck on the track if he couldn't see it, just like in fog or in dark. It took a long time for a signalman to walk along the track to get a message to the driver. So there were a lot of crashes. The electric telegraph made it much quicker to send messages. By the 1850s, there were signal boxes. A signalman could use levers to change signals in different places, but not very far away. Even in your book, page number 108, a signalman is pulling a lever in the signal box. The lever moved parts of the track. The advent of electricity revolutionized railways even. Electricity helped to make railways safer. Signals and moving parts of the tracks could be changed quickly using electric switches. In 1904, railways started to use colored electric lights to give information to train drivers. They were bright enough to be seen in the daytime. Modern railways still use signals with bars too. The next topic is the news in print. Before printing was invented, people gave out news in different ways. They called it out in towns, or wrote and drew pictures on paper or other materials. Some even carved words and pictures in stone, metal, or wood. When the British East India Company ruled the subcontinent, the newspapers here were all in English. The news was about the British. The paper was in English. Their editor then criticized the British East India Company. He was sent back to Britain. Another British editor wrote about corruption in the company and about the suffering of Indian people. The company fined him and put him in prison. The newspaper closed. Later, there were other English language newspapers in the places ruled by Britain. One of these was Dawn. The first newspaper was printed in 1766. Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah started Dawn in 1941 in Delhi. The Muslim League used it for their news. In 1946, the editor urged the Muslims to take part in protests to support the partition of the subcontinent. Now, the Dawn has offices in Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad. In 1947, Pakistan, there were 4 large Muslim-owned newspapers: Pakistan Times, Zamindar, Nawai-Waqt, and Civil and Military Gazette. They were all based in Lahore. After independence, other Muslim papers moved to Pakistan, for example, Dawn, the Morning News, and the Urdu language newspaper Jang and Anjam. Now turn your books to page number 110. There you can see the edition of Dawn announcing the death of Quaid-e-Azam. The Quaid-e-Azam is dead. Long live Pakistan. And can you see the date on that? Yes, it says Sunday, September 12, 1948. And what is the Islamic date? Very good, 7 Zikr 1367. And the editor of that time was Altaf Hussain. On the next diagram on page number 110, you can see the office of Dawn newspaper in Karachi. So the topic that we just read was the news in print. That was actually whatever the news that was printed on the paper. While now we will read about the news on air. This means the news that was heard on the air. And in how many ways we could hear those news? Let us delve into it. Around the beginning of the 20th century, governments began to use radio to send out news. Then radio manufacturers and large shops started small radio stations. This helped them to sell radios because people would have programs to listen to. Newspapers had small radio stations for broadcasting their opinions as well as news. So firstly, they invented the radio to send out news through the air, and then those radio manufacturers started radio stations. Even the newspapers had small radio stations for broadcasting their opinions as well as news. So this was a source of broadcasting opinions. In the 1920s, radio technology became much better and more people had radios. Radio companies started to broadcast entertainment programs and news. There were also some television broadcasting, but very few people had TV sets then. The Indian Broadcasting Company began radio broadcasting in the subcontinent in 1927. Later, the government took over. It named the company All India Radio. Do you know in 1895 the Italian inventor Marconi made the first wireless radio transmitter and receiver? The broadcast went through the air as radio waves. Marconi built the broadcasting transmitter at Peshawar and gave it to the radio station there. On your books on page number 111, you could see a wireless radio from the 1940s, just like the one shown in this slide. Just like this radio, it had a wire for electricity but no wires to link it to the transmitter. In the next diagram on your page 111, you can see the Radio Pakistan's Karachi building. In 1947, All India Radio had 3 radio stations in the area that became Pakistan. The Pakistan government took these over. It started the Pakistan Broadcasting Corporation. Most households in the subcontinent had radios. The world's first public service television broadcasting company was the BBC, British Broadcasting Company. It began in 1922 but could not broadcast over very long distances. Very few people in the world had TV sets then. Pakistan Television began broadcasting in 1964. Okay, so this is it for today. We will be continuing this topic in unit number 11 in the next lesson. I hope you had a fair idea of how the messages were started from the subcontinent to then the railways and then the news in print and then the news in air. You may also have a fair idea now that the news does not also state facts, it even gives opinions. And the advent of electricity made everything much simpler and easier, and even quicker. Now let us proceed to the question and answers of this chapter. You need to write down the question and answer on your notebooks, and you may take help from your books for the answers. Now question number 1 is, how did people in sense send messages or packages to one another at the beginning of the 19th century? How did people in sense send messages or packages to one another at the beginning of the 19th century? Question number 2 is, what was the quickest way to send a message across long distance in the 1860s? What was the quickest way to send a message across a long distance in the 1860s? Question number 3, give one reason why there were a lot of crashes on old railways. Give one reason why there were a lot of crashes on old railways. Question number 4. How did electricity help to make railways safer? How did electricity help to make railways safer? Okay students, this marks the end of our lesson. See you guys in the next lesson. Allah Hafiz.